White House invasion. Now, not completely. They have not entered the White House, but they wanted to, I think. Now then, remember how bad January 6th was, Chad. Walking between the velvet ropes and retaliating when the local police force unprovoked assaulted the protesters. Here is, and that was one of the worst political disasters in US history. This is just another day. This is a protest outside the White House. Break it down. Aside from Ray Epps, there was no such invocation that I heard on Jan 6th, and yet we've watched this video now for 9 seconds and have heard it yelled once already. So just to give you a perspective there, chat, on the favoritism at play. And yes, it's pro-Palestine stuff. I think that there's one confused guy here with a sign that says South Africans against apartheid. You might have come to the wrong protest, mate, or have I misunderstood something? Bloodiest day in US history. Yeah, so this is a Palestinian protest. Why is a sign about South African apartheid? A time traveler? Yeah, it must have been.
Because they like to refer to Israel as an apartheid state, so this guy's just virtue signaling that he's South African, I guess.
Right, gotcha. I mean, maybe you could argue it's an apartheid state. The thing is that the two groups that have been kept apart would be constantly killing each other if not kept apart. Historically, whites don't really do that. You know, they'll do it to people that fuck with them, but they won't do it otherwise. So, apartheid of blacks and whites is you know, it's the kind of thing that I could see someone making a convincing argument against. Although, you know, to say nothing of the other group involved, but when it's Israelis and Palestinians, yeah, they will just kill each other repeatedly. So you can't really end that. I understand why they're separated. Thought it was about Yemen. It could be. There's a lot of flags. The flags are Palestinian, I think. I don't pay much attention to that conflict. Yeah, someone's got a big, like, some sort of metal stick there. I don't know what they're doing with it, but it looked like they may have been trying to open the gate. This guy's climbing the gate now. Yeah, that sign's about Palestine. They're all shouting, fuck Joe Biden. This whole Israel-Palestine thing has sent a dividing line down the public sort of consciousness, which is even turning a lot of the left against Joe Biden, against the Democrats. And there's loads more footage of this happening as well. Is that a sniper?
No justice, no peace!
Oh, look. Stickers all over the wall with the socialist fist on them. I wonder how they got there. So yeah, it's just this. It's they didn't get any further than this gate as far as I know, this fence. And obviously there's another fence before they get to the White House, at which point they probably will be shot, but they didn't get any further than that. But there's lots of footage of this happening. Yeah, I'm not sure. It probably wasn't a rifle, but maybe he had one behind him or something, ready to go. Kennedy announces he's pro-Palestine since he's running independent, and that would split the Democrat vote. Maybe, but I don't think the majority. I don't know. Actually, maybe if he did say, like, maybe the left would vote for him more if he said that. It's an interesting idea, actually. All right, there is a story on this. We'll go through it relatively quickly. White House staff are relocated as pro-Palestine protesters threaten to breach security fence while hurling bloodied dolls symbolizing Gaza's dead children over the perimeter. Thousands of pro-Palestine demonstrators marched on the White House on Saturday to mark 100 days since the Hamas attack of October 7th. They demanded the ceasefire in Gaza, where more than 23,000 have been killed in retaliatory strikes by Israel. Secret Service agents were forced to take cover as activists launched bloodied dolls and projectiles during the protest. So, okay, question one, why are they demanding it from Biden? Question two, or, well, statement two, is Biden may actually have some control of that. He may be able to throw his weight around. But are the left asking him to throw his weight around? They might be. Do they expect that he can just have it done, though? Don't know. I'm not sure he can, really. Because Biden's the president of Israel, duh. Yeah, well, I'm not sure about that. I think it might be the other way around, actually. Closer to the other way around, anyway. Throwing bloody Palestinian children as a protest. Well, yeah, that's kind of what they're doing. There's pictures of them. If we look down here, this picture was the one I used for my thumbnail. Those are all, I assume, just like shop-bought dolls that they've drenched in red ink or something and chucked them over the fence. It's actually quite an effective protest symbol. But that leads me to believe that this protest, chat, stay with me here. I know this is going to sound radical and outrageous given what we've witnessed for the last few years. I know, but I have reason to believe this protest may not have been purely grassroots and emergent from individual feelings. I don't know, chat. I'm not sure on that. What? Yeah, it's an odd one, I know. It's odd that BLM protests and burns shit down like clockwork in election years. I know it's weird. I know. Hey, maybe this is just this year's equivalent. You know, a left-wing group willing to burn shit down. Maybe that's why their motive for, like, calling on Joe Biden to do something about this seems weird. Because it is weird. Because this is the left grasping at straws to find a protest group after the organization BLM kind of, like, fell out of favor a bit, partly because their leaders were fucking laundering money. Daka says, if I had a nickel for every time a horde of leftists put the White House on lockdown this decade, I'd have 2 nickels, but it's weird that it happened twice. Yeah, indeed. This is an extraordinary claim, says Ghost. Usually with these unheard radical takes, I know. So yeah, this happened. Free Gaza scrawled some shit over this statue. White House staff were relocated. Thousands of Palestinians demanding a ceasefire. Law enforcement defended the people's house, donned riot gear as a baying mob pelted them with dolls and other projectiles. Video shows metal perimeter was shaken, so portions of it were shunted back, forcing Secret Service operatives to rush to one part to prevent a breach. Secret Service later confirmed that the anti-scale fencing sustained temporary damage, which was promptly repaired. So anti-scale fencing, that's interesting. I wonder how they do that. I guess the shape of the sort of grid being sort of like tall like that might prevent footholding, and maybe it's made out of like painted with the material that's deliberately slippery or something. And then that steel bar across the middle might be just on the other side of the fence, so you can't stand on it. It's interesting. Maybe they could use that on the fucking southern border. Just an idea. So walls are okay now. They're okay there. I see. So they're okay to defend the guy in charge, but not the guy not the people he's charged with protecting. I see. Okay. There's a bunch of the bloody dolls. Like, as far as I know, both Israelis and Palestinians are being killed in that area, children included on both sides. Maybe more of one than the other, I don't know. But the problem is not one-sided. But as I've mentioned before, the whole thing is it's a locked-in catastrophe. Similar to North Korea, where the people of North Korea are just fucked. There's pretty much nothing they can do, because North Korea is funded by China to be China's insane military wing, I believe. And so North Korea almost literally does not need its people at all. And so they just oppress them, treat them like shit. It's a locked-in catastrophe, and that's the same thing with Israel, because I think Israel's ideal state of Hamas, Israel's ideal state of the Palestinians, I believe, is constantly angry and constantly killing a few people a year, a few Israelis a year, just to keep the fear on Israel's border to help enforce a more authoritarian government and a more collectivist state. I think that's Israel's preference for Hamas. And so if Hamas stops being as violent, Israel will provoke them. If Hamas gets really violent, Israel will get really violent back. So there's no solution, really, for that whole situation, unless one of them does wipe out the other, which Hamas wants to do, but can't, and Israel doesn't want to do but can, I suspect. So yeah, or someone else wipes out both, as Korak says. Yeah, that's also a possibility. I don't know, chat. Do you think the world needs a bit more glass? You can tell it's a leftist protest because of all the watermelon. Why? Why is that there? Is it just because it's like the Palestine flag colours? It's the watermelon rebellion. They don't like America, do they? I wonder why they're in America. Interesting question, that. Like, I've noticed that they're not flying American and Palestinian flags, as if to imply America should be supporting Palestine. It's pretty much just Palestine flags. There is a flag there that might be American, but it's the only one I've seen in any of these pictures. It's almost all Palestinian flags. Now, I get having Palestinian flags there because that's the point of your protest, but it does make it look like a foreign protest action on the US Capitol, rather than a group of Americans who believe a certain thing. Do you know what I'm seeing in this crowd, chat? A lot of slightly brown faces, a lot of black hair, a lot of scraggly black beards, and a lot of those like neckerchief things that are common in the Middle East. It does look like a foreign-run protest. So this is a relatively minor thing, but if you wanted to make it look like the American people are for something, make it look like the American people are for it, not some other people who happen to be in America. But hey, that's just my stupid standards about, like, being part of the country you're in. But yeah, that's what's happening at the White House recently.